Now you guys are getting warmed up.
What specific steps will you take to reduce gun violence, and how do you plan to go about that if Congress is still controlled by Republicans in 2020?
It's very frustrating, and certainly Mitch McConnell, I mean, first thing we got to do is win the U.S. Senate, and trust me, let me give you a personal guarantee that we will win Colorado. I will, even if I have to crawl on my hands and knees across the state helping whoever the winner is to win that election, we need to get some resolution to that. In Colorado, we're a purple state, and after we had the shooting in the Aurora movie theater in 2013, after we'd done several months of mourning, we did decide we were going to try and get universal background checks passed in a purple state. Nobody had ever done that. And just like Mitch McConnell, we could not get the NRA to compromise even a little. And at a certain point when it's important, I think you just have to push it through. You have to get it done any way you can. I came home one day and my son at that time was 10. He was in 5th grade. And I made the mistake of complaining to him. I'm sure many of you young people had the same experience with your parents. I made the mistake of complaining. He looked at me and goes, "Dad, what do you do at work all day that's so hard? You make decisions?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, it's not that easy." He goes, "Dad, get the facts, make a decision, check, next." I said, "Well, I'll tell you, it's not." He goes, "Dad, get the facts, make a decision, check, next. Every day I go to school, I've got to learn something completely new that I didn't know the day before, and if I don't get it perfectly, the next day is misery, because everything's based on the day before." You know, I mean, after 5 minutes I said, "Teddy, you're right, 5th grade is harder than being governor." But I came in to work the next day and I realized we had the national statistics on background checks, but we hadn't gotten the local Colorado statistics. And it took us 3 or 4 weeks. By that time, the battle had been fought. In the end, we had 2 of our Democratic state senators got recalled because of that battle. And it's funny, the statistics were so powerful when they came back. So Colorado's 5.5 million people, relatively speaking, a small state. And we were getting to 50% of the gun purchases, right? So 50%, roughly half the gun purchases, we did a background check. Here's who we caught. In 2012, just getting to 50% of the gun purchases, 38 people tried to buy a gun who had been found convicted of homicide, right? 38 people convicted of homicide tried to buy a gun. We had 133 people convicted of sexual assault. In all, there were 3,000 people convicted of violent crimes, tried to buy a gun, and we stopped them. There were 420 people who had judicial restraining orders not to see their ex-wife or their ex-boss. They tried to buy a gun, and we stopped them. And just in case, the Republicans kept saying crooks aren't stupid. 140 people, when they came to pick up their gun, we arrested them for an outstanding warrant for a violent crime. Those are so staggering when they're in your community. And we presented them to the Republicans. Since then, we have never heard a word that any Republican senator in the state of Colorado even considers repealing universal background checks. And I think the first step is we go state to state on some of these swing states and show that we have the will when we get those local statistics. And once we have a little momentum, then we go out and we pass universal background checks on a national basis. And I don't think it's going to be hard to do. I personally also think that we need to go, I mean, we're now having over 6 mass shootings, before people get shot, over 6 mass shootings per week in this country. And I think we're at the point now where we have to look at other initiatives. One suggestion I think has real value is that you have to take a class and pass an exam to get a driver's license, to be able to demonstrate you can know how to handle an automobile. Maybe people should have, we have hunter safety programs in many of the hunting states where young people have to take a class and pass an exam to get a hunting license. Maybe just to be able to buy and own weapons, firearms, you should have to take a class and pass an exam to demonstrate you know how to handle and store weapons. I don't think that infringes on anybody's Second Amendment right. It just makes sure that we are not allowing guns in the hands of people who don't know how to handle them, and that in many cases shouldn't have guns in the first place. By that I mean convicted violent criminals.
follow-up to that question. I'm from South Florida, and my community was affected deeply by the shooting in Stoneman Douglas High School.
Yeah.
I was wondering your opinion on arming teachers in classrooms.
So, I think we were all affected by that. That shooting in some powerful way moved the country. Part of it was the students that their resolve and their energy. When we had the shooting in the Aurora movie theater, where 70 people were shot, 12 of them were killed, and I was the first person on the scene that looked at the video of the crime scene. And I will remember those graphic images for the rest of my life. I think anybody would. I think it's, in a funny way, it's a form of trauma. I think we have to look at every solution we can. I think we're going to end up getting to the point where each school district will be evaluating whether they want to have lockdowns and really control who goes in and out of the schools. And probably it'll be, I don't know, I mean, each school district is going to decide that. I personally think it's a bad idea to arm teachers, just having talked to hundreds and hundreds of teachers. But again, in this country, that's a local school district decision. And states may try to impose it on some school districts in some states. Most states want to make sure that that is a local decision. And every school district I've talked to in Colorado, the teachers don't want that. They view that it's more risk than benefit.